Hi everyone, I'm Vone Kevitz, knit and crochet designer for One of a Kind Makers Who Dare to Be Original. And joining me is the beautiful
Katura.
Katura?
Katura.
Katura. Oh, I've been saying it wrong.
It's okay.
Thank you. This is why I'm so happy to do this live with you. Katura. Yeah, I want to say this right because when I release my pattern using your name, I want to promote it the correct way. Katura. Katura.
Katura.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for doing this with me.
You're
So
welcome.
I was doing the dishes at 11 p.m. last night because the hubs and I were watching too much TV last night and didn't get ready. And then as the 11 o'clock hour hits, I'm doing the dishes and then it hits me like this. I'm like, I am sick and tired of being jealous of all those beautiful makers making socks all the time, especially at Spin Chick, SPINCHICK, I think without an S, but if you look her up, she'll pop right up on Instagram. She posted this tiny little sock the size of a palm of her hand for a keychain, like this little. She had a picture of her hand and a tiny little sock. And I thought, oh, I said, this is my time. I have to learn how to do this. I'm tired of this, like this beast of a monster, like looming over me. So got done with the dishes. I said, who can I call to go live with me tomorrow? and do this. Who can I call? There, oh, Spin Chick is here. She's joined us. Okay, single, no S's. Okay. Why would I consider you a Spin Chicks? Why did I think of adding an S in my head? Of course you would be singular. Of course. Thank you so much. Because the reason why I wanted to share that with you is, you know, we're always using the internet to either flaunt what we do, you know, to brag about our lifestyle. That's why internet, you know, social media is like 40 seconds of a perfect life, right?
Yeah.
But so we're either doing that and then hiding the reality, or we're out there like poking and prodding at people for like doing something wrong, right? This is how I feel like social media has become, you know, either flaunting or poking, right? And I just want to like emphasize something, that you can do something and inspire somebody with a beautiful post. And that is what Spin Chick has done by sharing one tiny little sock. She made a tiny little sock on the palm of her hand. That was a picture on her Instagram feed. Go love hard on her, guys. And it just clicked to me that I'm like, I need to learn. I need to finally learn. This has been a monster looming over my head for the past 5 years, since the moment I wanted to learn how to knit. But it was a skill that is like, no way could I ever. And if I ever do, I'm going to take over the world. That's the kind of power the Lord will instill upon me.
I mean, I don't think socks are actually that hard. It's kind of like people get freaked out by sweaters. And I don't think sweaters are actually that hard. I mean, now, yes, it's not going to be super tailored or fitted for your first one, more than likely. And socks have all their own math and all their own like ways of fitting it.
Right.
But like a basic sock, I mean, actually anybody can do a basic tube sock. I mean, it's just a tube. You know, it's the
That's what I'm hoping for. All right, listen. Let me just Ketra, you're going to talk while I figure it out. But so I'm going to stop you for 2 seconds. Morning, Kathy. Thank you for joining. And Eliana, is that how you would pronounce her name? The Lord bless you, my dear. I just got my notification, so I missed a lot. How did you go learning to do? I haven't learned yet. You are right here at the right place at the right time. I haven't taken my first steps yet. You're poking one another. Be uplighting always, and being of the Lord. Amen. Amen. And that's what we're here for. That's what this channel's all about, you know. So, okay. So I was up till, so after Keturah said yes.
Yes.
Keturah. After Keturah said yes, at midnight. I was up till about 1:30 trying to find socks, researching what kind of pair of socks. I need some kind of a pattern. We found something free that she's going to be looking at and tutoring me. And I was trying to find some YouTube video, and I thought I learned a quick way, but somebody had just shared. I woke up this morning to an outpour of comments with suggestions and everything, and I just, like, seriously, I want to cry. I want to cry just from all of you amazing makers that just like reached out and said, do this, do that. Here's a good way. Here's, you know what I mean? I couldn't even, like, you guys go find that video, the one right before this one that I filmed last night, to share with all the beautiful comments and suggestions on Instagram, on IGTV, and on YouTube. Like, these are amazing makers that just reached out and showed me so much support and encouragement of telling me where to go, taking these first steps, right? And I was just overwhelmed. So I have one docket. Now, in my YouTube description, once this goes live, once it like releases, I will share everything that I'm like, I will share the links that I'm using. I will share Katura's Instagram to follow her. And you guys, she's only on here because she's a knitting expert, because she's made sweaters. She's probably wearing the sweater that she's made. So
Actually, I am, and I didn't do that on purpose. I was just like, "Oh, this is handy. I'll just throw it on."
Oh my God! So I knew it. I knew you were wearing a sweater.
It was like totally just one of those things where it's just like, "What can I wear tomorrow that's clean and warm and decent and fits?" Oh, okay, I'll because it's just laying here and it's cold here right now. We just had, like, where I live in the mountains, it's a lot of back and forth with the weather. So we'll have, like, just earlier this week, we had 3 days in the 50s. I actually burned my legs because we're at 7,600 feet, so the sun is really hot. And we just got done and had like 2 or 4 inches of snow, so it's cold again. So yeah, lots of back and forth.
I need to fix my speed. How do I fix? Oh, here it goes. Speed. I need to slow down this speed to learn how to do this cast on real quick. You keep talking.
Oh, okay.
While I figure out what I'm doing here. I'm doing I don't know if you kids can see me because I'm just looking at my my YouTube screen.
Well,
So
I told you, like, I've never done 2 at a time, so this is a little bit of the blind leading the blind. I've always
that's honestly how we best learn, isn't it? The blind leading the blind.
Yes.
Here we go.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I've had guides leading me, but you know, it's more fun when the blind leads the blind. You laugh a little bit more, I think.
Of course. It's funny because, okay, wait, what the heck? And then she lifts it up and then she goes, oh, good God, I don't think this is right. I should have done this before. I should have done this. I had every intention of, you guys, I had every intention of, hold on. I had every intention of casting on this so that we start off, so I wouldn't be doing this moment. So let's just do a little prayer for me. I had every intention of doing this part before. Once I get the groove of it, I will get it to. I'm watching her in slow-mo. I'm literally watching her in slow-mo to try to get this. I've done long tail cast-ons before. I wonder if I should just do that.
Well, it won't. I don't think it'll work the same for toe up, from what I know.
No, it won't, right? Okay, so no, okay, then I'm going to be patient.
Yeah, so be patient. I was going to say, patient. The way I learned was top down or cuff down. And I think there's always pluses and minuses. I've noticed in the knitting world, there's a lot of people that are very passionate about top down sweaters, like toe up socks. And they're always like, you can try it on. And I'm like, but you can try on something done bottom up. You could still try it on. I haven't quite figured out, like, why there's such a cult following for top down. And I do both. I'm not filming top down or toe up, because that's kind of top down. But it's really funny to me how passionate knitters get about one technique versus another.
Okay, it actually is easy. I need to get 8. Keep talking, kiddo.
Okay, so yeah, that's kind of just my one comment on the knitting world that I've noticed. Like, like I think traditional is more bottom up, and then of course Barbara Walker with her sweaters, she did top down sweaters I think in like the 80s, and it really took off, and now everybody seems to do. I do like with top down how you can try it on, and the socks are the same because you can try on the sock as you go a little bit more easily. That might be why, I don't know. I know some people that won't do bottom up at all, right? Or they will completely rewrite the pattern to do it top down, which to me just sounds like a lot of work.
You know, someone suggested that I do like once I learn my own method, you know, there's like a formula that you can try all these different ways. So I had no idea.
Well, so like I said, I haven't really knit a lot of socks. I just never, I don't hate them, and I love to wear like wool socks, but to actually knit them, just, I don't know, there's just something about, I'll knit mittens, I'll knit hats, I'll knit scarves and sweaters, I'll even knit pants.
Really?
Yeah.
Get out.
I haven't done it yet, but I have some patterns for knit leggings for both women and babies, and I want to knit a pair at some point. But the socks thing, I don't know. There's just something about it just seems really fussy, and I get really, I don't want to say I get frustrated with the process, but maybe I do. I don't know. I mean, I'm patient, obviously. I knit this sucker, but it's the sweater of tears. Not really. Once I got it going, it was fine. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about socks that I'm just like, oh, I don't want to be bothered. But I do want to try. So Susan B. Anderson, if you go to Ravelry or her website, Barrett Wool Company, she has a pattern called Smooth Operator Socks. And Mel or Melissa from encouragebetter.com, and on Instagram, she's Miss T Knits. She's
oh
the one
gosh. Wait.
okay.
I did 8 here and I did 7 here. Son of a beep. And I have to undo it because I didn't do the back 8. And I got into rhythm, so
You're doing awesome though. Like you're doing it for the time, like toe up for the first time for your sock. You're like me. My first mitten pattern
I'm almost there.
was
guys.
a Fair Isle stranded knitting pattern.
Oh.
And I'd never knit mittens, and I'd never done stranded knitting. And my friend is like, most people learn one or the other first. But I was at knitting camp, and so I had a lot of help and encouragement. And I'm super ambitious that way. Where
You were at knitting camp? What the heck is that? Is that like band camp?
It's kind of like it's kind of like these nerdy kids that go to.
There's such a thing.
Yeah.
Knitting camp.
They call it knitting camp, but it's like a weekend long knitting.
Oh my god! I need to go to knitting camp.
It's Meg Swanson's knitting camp, and I'm going to tell you right now, I did not pay for it. My very good friend, Dr. Susan, she sponsored me. She sent me 2 years in a row, and it was the best thing for my knitting. I didn't actually like do anything super crazy after I went, other than the mittens, and the mittens weren't that hard. Like, what I'm finding with knitting is, if you have a pattern and you have the yarn and you can learn some basic skills, a lot of it's not really that hard. At least in my opinion or my experience. So, yeah, but I went to knitting camp. It was one of the best experiences of my life. I loved it. I just had a wonderful time. I learned a lot. I feel like I absorbed a lot subconsciously, because when I went to knit this sweater, this is my first Fair Isle sweater for me, like adult size, like there was just so much like that kind of kept popping up in my head of like, ooh, I should like just things to try, or things that I kind of already knew, but I've never knit it. And I just feel like I absorbed a lot, and I took notes. I paid such close attention in camp. Like, there's a lot of fun with it, but it's sitting all day long for 4, 6, 8 hours. So, and you're surrounded by people of immense knitting skill, and that was just like the basic one. That wasn't even like the advanced one. So it's quite an experience if you can ever go. They're still doing it. Meg Swanson's still doing it. Actually, it was started by her mother, Elizabeth Zimmerman. And if you know who that is, she's the great knitting mother in the U.S., Knitting Without Tears and that. So, yeah, that's what I did. Okay. And you're doing really good.
It looks like, I'm not sure if she pulled the front thing up or the front or the back thing. I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when I do this. But let me pick this. Oh, no, don't pick up that one. I'm gonna pick this one up. We are almost there, guys. We are almost there. Whoa. Something's happening. Hold on. This is why we're like, don't do the 2 in 1 first, and then of course
I was a little like, I feel bad. I was a little dubious. I was like, wow, 2 at a time for the first time toe up. That just sounds like a lot.
Like a masochistic move.
Maybe.
Like, what the heck is she?
Like, wow.
Hey, they don't call us crazy Asians for nothing, This is how we roll.
Well,
all right.
So it's kind of like when I first learned to drive. When I first learned to drive, I learned to drive in like an 8 or 10. It was at least an 8-passenger sport van on a 2-lane highway that was used by truckers. So I had
Okay, wait. I definitely did something wrong because are we on the second row? Did she move things along yet?
Does your video show you how to cast on one toe up? Okay.
Yeah, I'm watching it, but I'm not hearing her. And I almost feel like I'm in the wrong direction. Like, I think I should have pulled the back up instead of the front up or something. Hold on. Let me go back. And then I changed the speed so I can see that beginning one. So now she's like in super slow-mo. Let me move her back to normal. And I think...
I'm not crying, by the way. I have seasonal allergies. And so
I'm the same way. I'm like been sneezing and okay, look, I think I'm close. Okay, hold on. I just need to get to this point where she's at, and I think okay, I did it right. I was just ahead of her because of my speed. Not that I'm good speed, but I slowed her down. So she's saying drop it, turn it, and drop it, turn it, and then hold this and pull this. Oh, look at this magic. Pull this. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
Oh, look at you.
Oh my word. Oh my word. So pull this, and then the front is gonna come out. Yes. Toddler waddling, guys. This is what it looks like. Toddler waddling.
You're doing
I was telling my husband, this is the thing about, this is the beautiful thing about what we do, like life on social media, is we're always following people that are like, I'm going to cut my tail so that I know it's a tail. This is what the tip she said. Cut your tail so that you know it's a tail and not get it confused, right? And now, and then tug. It looks good. My stitch looks, and then she said, pull. She's not saying, I'm just watching her. And she said, pull, and then bam. Yeah, so close.
I just realized I can read all the live comments. So Kathy, I'm sorry, I'm just like reading yours. I hope you're still here.
Yes, I will come back in a minute to those lives. But go ahead, Ketra.
I'm going to talk to her. Kathy, I think you should attempt a sweater. There's a lot of great sweater patterns out there, and I don't think you need to be scared. The biggest thing I think that I've learned in making sweaters lately is just making sure that you take some good measurements of yourself, and that you can do whatever weight you want. I do think for first sweater, worsted weight might be easier just because you have a larger gauge to work with as opposed to like super fine gauge like this. So that's what I would do if you are ever inclined to start knitting a sweater. And then when did I start knitting? I started knitting in high school, and I'm 36 now. So I want to say I don't remember the exact year, but I want to say it was maybe mid or late high school, because I was driving. I remember driving to the yarn shop. And some lovely, lovely lady there taught me for free even though they offered knitting classes, she's like, we do a sit and knit. Nobody ever comes. Why didn't you come? You buy the yarn and needles, but I'll teach you to knit. And so I learned on, still my first love, Brown Sheep's Lamb's Pride worsted weight yarn, that lovely fuzzy yarn. I love it, actually. I think it's a really cool yarn. And probably like size 10 needles, or maybe it was bulky weight. And I just knit a purse and I felted it. I don't even have it anymore.
You keep talking.
I feel like
2, 4, 6. Son of a beep! I lost a stitch somewhere. Hold on. I think it was that first one.
I feel like it should be
7. Let me see if I have 8. 2, 4, 6, 7. Son of a beep! I gotta go back. Oh,
so Kathy,
keep going, Ketra. Keep talking.
20 years, but I had long breaks in there. I went back to college, and I mean, when I say 20 years, like that's just like from when I started to now ish, give or take a year or two. So yeah, that's probably as long as I've been knitting. I didn't really get adventurous with my knitting until probably the last 7 or 8 years.
Okay. Katura?
Yes. Yeah. Actually,
it looks like I cast it on. It looks like I cast it on 8 on both sides, but somewhere along the line,
you dropped a stitch.
When I flipped it, I dropped a stitch. So I'm going to fake a stitch.
I would
somewhere. You know what I mean? Because I ain't doing this again. I'm gonna fake a stitch. This is why we recruited a professional here. I need to fake a stitch somewhere. Let me just make sure I have the 8 on the other side. Let me just make sure.
Are you 2,
speaking 4, 6,
Kathy?
8.
I actually in a pattern. Okay. I'm really proud of myself. I released it last fall. It's called Autumn Revelry, or Reverie, excuse me. Like, you get into a reverie. It's on Ravelry, and I think it's $4. It's not expensive, and it's knit with double strand of Barocco's vintage bulky or chunky on a size 17, and it's just a very simple horseshoe lace and seed stitch, and it's this giant wrap. And hello, Ellen Helms. I'm filling in for Vone while she figures out her socks. I'll say hello.
Okay, I faked a stitch. I'm good. We should do the same thing with the next one.
The first thing, like the first pair of socks, like when I learned my first pair of socks, it was a baby sock. It was worsted weight done on size 5 needles, and it was you cast on 24 stitches, and it was like just a little baby sock, and it was a nice way to do socks. Not that
I know.
Nice.
I know, right? A baby sock, a nice way. Do one sock at a time. That's another nice way. And just yeah, this is definitely what a crazy Asian looks like, guys. Okay, I'm at 8. I'm going to, oh my God, my neck. I'm so tense right now. My neck. I can't remember what she said. What did she say when you get to this point? Do I want to? No, I want to pull this. Oh no, I have to flip it. Are you listening to me?
I'm listening. You have to flip it.
I have to flip it and then yank it back. Oh, it's happening. And then yank it back so that this comes in front. Oh my God, I'm so close.
You're doing so awesome. Seriously.
I'm so good. Okay. And then she says to, no, don't drop, buddy, don't drop, no. Okay, she said, hold this, pull this up, and then if I land with 8, I had to fake a stitch to get 8 on the other side. 2, 4, 6, 8. I still have it.
That she has faked a stitch as well.
No. Fake a stitch. Okay, and then she said to because now we've got the first row complete. So now I'm going to just. I think
it's fun too. Ellen said it's really fun watching you learn, and I agree.
That's what I said to my husband. I said, honey, I'm going to people are always going online. Like, this is the world that we're in right now, social media and us learning from, you know, other people, but we're always watching everybody's 20th step, their 10th year, their, you know what I mean? Their
Yeah.
25-year experience. And then we want to learn. And then we always get intimidated. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we're always like, and then fear sets in, and then we never start because we're like, we'll never be like them. We'll never, you know what I mean? We'll never be as good.
Or we
And
expect it to look as good as them and forget that they're
yes, and then you get, and
money.
then you're like, and
Yeah.
you think that we will spend like 5 hours learning something brand new, you know, in frustration, pulling our hair out, crying and cursing ourselves, all this stuff, and then wonder, you know, and realize like, and never think for a moment of those people's first steps. How many hours did they take? You know what I mean?
Well, it's kind of like that. I've noticed like with
Right?
postpartum, like so I'm a mom. And one of the biggest like frustrations for me is the lack of honesty in social media with motherhood. Now there's some really honest moms out there, and I actually don't follow a lot of motherhood accounts that drive me nuts. And that's nothing personal against anyone. It's just it's overwhelming because so many of them have these really beautiful accounts. They're very perfect, and they try to like they try to share their lives and be honest, but there's a lot of times where I can't tell if the vulnerability is real or if it's also manufactured just to gain connection. And I love that. Ellen's shared, did you ever watch Knit Daily with Uni Jang? She always said it's just yarn. I love Uni. She seems to have dropped off the face of the earth as far as in the knitting world. I love her in paper mitts. I haven't made them yet, but they're really beautiful. And Kathy said that we can't get good at something unless we practice. It's really true. It's really true.
So true.
And that's how we learn, by doing. That's how I learn. Like, I'm not really, I mean, I can absorb and learn from reading and watching videos and things, but I think especially with crafting, it's so hands-on. It's really helpful to be able to do it as you're learning. So yeah, but no, motherhood on Instagram is just a weird experience, and I stay away.
Hold on a second. I think I've confused myself because so I started the cast on. I'm going to backtrack for a minute. I started the cast on and I kept my right side. So help me with this crazy math. I started the cast on from the right side with my right side yarn to tell myself that it is the right side.
Okay.
Okay. And um and then I thought I completed it, but I don't think I did because this is my left side yarn. So this must be my back.
It must be. This is where I don't know because I don't do two at a time.
Yeah, I think this is my back. So I'm going to go around one more time because in theory, if I cast it on with my right side yarn, that should be my right. That should be the first, right?
Yep. I
In
think
theory.
so.
So let's do that. I might
Well,
have
we'll know in a minute.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go and not mark that because for some reason I'm like, wait a minute, I'm handling my left yarn. My socks are still separated.
Kathy is leaving to tend to her sick husband. Thank you. I hope it was nice to meet you and get to chat with you. I actually do hop on these lives occasionally. It's nice to actually talk to you ladies. It's fun to see you. I hope he feels better. I hope you do well. And then we have Marie Housey joining us.
Okay,
No, not it.
this is bad math. This is bad math here.
Ellen said, do you ask if you have a marker of some kind to show the right side? Like, did you
I
mark?
I do, and what I did was, um, I thought that I completed it. Let me count this stitch. Hold on. If I have 1, 2, 3, but for some reason 1, 2, 3, 4. Why? Uh, if I if I'm if okay, if I started with the right side and I land, will my start ever be with this left side? It will be. Because if I finish casting off with the left, if I finish casting off with my left, I turn around, my first side is my left. I was right. My first side is my left. So the math, so you know how Keturah, good golly.
It's okay.
I'm learning a name for the first time, people, and now I'm learning a song.
She's doing awesome. Only
And I'm
people...
my brain is about to explode. So I cast it on the right side, thinking that this will be my right side, but it is not my right side because it's going to land on my left side. So my left side is my right sock, is my first sock side.
If that's not like a brain bender, I don't know what is.
That is, okay. So I did stitch mark that right. Now I have to go back and now I have to go back in essence and grow this thing. I need to grow it. I need to grow it. She is somewhere in the no heels. I don't know what happened to her videos. Her videos. Keep tracking. I'm going increase the first round. Good. Stop. Pause for a minute. I need to learn how to increase the beginning and the end. So I'm gonna go back. I'm almost there, guys. I am so almost there. If we can spend this hour getting me to this point where I can increase up to 32. I'm starting with 8. If I can increase to 32, and then it's just knit round all the way through like a big tube sock, right? In theory.
Well, you're actually, if you're following that pattern you sent me, you're actually doing a heel flap, unless you want to do
freaking God.
Well, that's why I often like to do like
if you know an easier way, we just need to get me to finish and wear something. So
I think
preferably by this weekend. If we can succeed in that whole thing, if I could just get one entire tube, maybe.
I have a feeling that what will be easier for you, depending on where we stop the video or where you stop learning, would be to try an afterthought heel, and I'll send you I'll see if I can find a pattern for an afterthought heel in worsted weight, and I'll hopefully for free. I don't know. I'll send it to you after we're done here. Because an afterthought heel, because you're doing 2 at a time, and this is just, I haven't done 2 at a time, but just watching you and just knowing what I know, I think, because with an afterthought heel, what you'll do is when you come to the heel part, instead of actually working a heel, you'll put in waste yarn, and then you'll keep knitting. And when you're all done knitting, you'll go back to that waste yarn, and then you'll fiddle with the heel. You see what I'm saying?
No, I don't know anything you're saying right now. I'm trying to increase my stitch.
Basically,
hold on 1 second. Let me pause this. I'm going to, you guys, I will share. I just want to make sure I still have 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, I still have 8. I'm on my first stitch, and she's saying to increase. So she wants me to increase from this middle hook here, right? Yep. So I'm going to lift it up. I have no room. There's no room. No room for me to grow this. Maybe I'm going to remove the stitch marker for a minute. I might have the stitch marker at the wrong spot where it's like tugging at it, not letting me have that ladder space that I need. So I'm going to
Spin Chick says she was thinking the same thing about afterthought heel. So yeah, I'm with Spin Chick. I think an afterthought heel is going to be easier for you, because then you just do this. Then you just knit one whole tube, and when you're done, you go back and you put in the heel. So
wait, if I lift it up, I need to create something.
If you lift it up, you're going to be twisting it when you go to knit it.
I don't have room. I need to undo this, whatever. I need to knit this back. I don't have room. Something happened here.
Well, you haven't knit any rounds yet, have you? You may not.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you probably don't have enough to knit.
I don't want to lose this one. Oh, good God. I don't even want to watch this video back, guys. This is going to... Okay, I imagine a miracle, but it turns out this is going to be a train wreck. I can't get this I can't get the stitch back in, and it's like a big mother knot. It's a knot.
Ellen, we are trying to knit our first row, and the first row is an increase row. So she's cast on, and yeah, we haven't made it much further.
No, it's a huge knot.
Oh.
I think I have done something. I can't even get my needle in. If I let it go, I'm gonna start from scratch. I cry.
You won't cry. I'm here with you. I'm here with you.
I think I have to let this go. I think I have to let it go.
Are you letting it go to start over? Or are you letting it go to...
I'm letting it go to start over. I'm letting it go to start over.
You're going to be really good at this cast on when you're done. Does that make you feel better?
What?
You're going to be really good at this cast on when you're all finished.
Yes. I know the cast on. That's why I'm confident that I can do this. I need to let it go because I don't have room. I don't have room to stick my freaking needle in there. Okay, I'm going to do this the right way now. If I cast on from the left side, I will end with the right. I will start with the right, and that's what I want to do.
Okay.
And that will get me my headspace in the correct way.
Oh, Ellen. Oh, this is a good point. Ellen said that she's found it easier to knit a row after casting on and then work increases.
Okay. Oh, okay. So knit one row first?
Yeah.
That's probably what I should have done. Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. What I should have done.
That is really true, Ellen. I've never done toe up and I've never done two at a time. So we said in the beginning it was the blind leading the blind. I need you for moral support and to make sure that he doesn't burst into flames.
Yes. She was like, Devon, I've never done this before. I was like, I just need somebody that knows something, okay, to join me. I just need somebody that knows something. I don't care what you know. You just need to know something, all right?
Yes, Ellen said it's looser. Yeah, it would be looser because otherwise all your tension's taken up in the cast on. You don't really have anything with the ladders or the...
Right.
Yeah.
2, 4,
no, it makes sense. See, I'm learning too, so that if and when I decide to do toe-up socks, I will know. I don't know if I'll do them two at a time like you. You were so brave, but I love you for it. I just, I've listed two at a time. I have for everything. My friend told me I could have done my sleeves for this at two at a time, and I was like, no freaking way would I have done that.
For sure. If I did, when I do my first sweater, my sleeves are getting done at the same time. It's not happening separately. It is not happening separately. All right. So now my left is over here. Okay. I'm going to go to my right. I'm going to cast on real quick. Real quick, guys.
Ellen, excuse me, Spin Chick said that she knits 2 socks at a time, but on 2 separate sets of needles. So she does 10 rows of sock 1 and then 10 rows of sock 2 and then back to sock 1. And she says it works for her brain. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, I do too. You know, I do that same thing when I'm doing, when I crochet gloves.
That makes a lot of sense to me because then you're not having to do 2 at a time, but you are.
Mm-hmm. Less thinking, less row counting, and it's guaranteed even all the way, and then you don't have to worry about how you increase one way, how you don't, you know.
Yeah, no, because that's something I have to do a lot when I'm knitting sleeves, like this sweater that I'm knitting right now. The sleeve I kind of knit by gut or intuition and feeling, and so I was working with the increases a lot differently in the pattern. And so I had to make sure and go back and count and write it all down. So when I do the second sleeve, it matches. Knit-Knack said, hi, so happy you are trying something new. You are a brave girl. I have yet to conquer the sock. Well, Vone is showing
you can,
because she's never done socks and she's learning them 2 at a time to look.
You totally can, because I'm doing it right now.
She's
on live television.
She's showing us the ugly beginning of it all.
Okay.
I agree.
And I've already ripped out the first one. I've already ripped it out and I'm redoing it. So real quick, this is how I think I lost my second stitch because of this weird loop over, because So we got 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. So 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, still have it. Got it. Remember the first time I had to fake a stitch in there?
Which probably might have even
which
like
is,
used up some of your tension for that make.
and that, yep, I think that's what ate up my attention, my tension, and that first one was because I faked that first stitch on the second side.
Yeah, I agree.
It evenly land at 8.
On that, it depends on how anal retentive I am, but if I'm short one stitch, sometimes I cheat and I just make one.
Oh, I'm gonna be a cheater. I do that with crochet all the time. If I land somewhere that I'm not supposed to, I cheat all the time.
I rarely cheat. There's a very strong like perfectionist streak in me, but as I've gotten older and now that I have a child and my time is really limited, I do cheat more than I used to, except there's certain things you can't cheat with, like tubular cast on, which is I did the tubular cast on for the bottom of this, but I didn't do it for the sleeves because I was so frustrated with it. It's really hard on my hands. And so I did not make a matching cast on for like the sleeves. I actually did like the German or Old Norwegian cast on, which is like a long tail with like a twist. And it's still plenty stretchy. And it was a lot less headache for me. I even learned I followed a video from like Isolde Teague about how to do, I think it was tubular cast on, or was it provisional? It was tubular cast on, but it was done long tail method. Whoa, my entire body was so tense when I got done. And it was so headache to do it that I thought next time I do tubular cast on, I'm just going to do it with waste yarn. This was not worth the effort at all. It isn't cheating, it's a design element. That's what Spin Chick said.
Yes, that's what I say. It's totally a design element.
That's something that Meg Swanson said. She's like, if you repeat a mistake enough, it's just a design element. It's no longer a mistake. And I thought, it's so true.
It's a brand new method. You created a new method.
You just written a pattern. Marie, it's just a different way to get what you need. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There is one problem and 356 different ways to get to a solution for that problem. And sometimes we only look at one or two. So, yeah.
My gosh, you guys, thank you so much for joining me and being so patient with me.
I'm
going to turn. I'm already like getting and then I'm going to yank this bad boy out. And I think I'm officially back in where I needed to be.
You did that much faster this time too. You did really awesome.
Right? Except the corner of my eyes have so much, like, I think I'm just crying. So the first time my neck was like stiff as a board. And this time I feel like I need to wipe off the corner of my eyes. So I must have been like crying somewhere. Like, where are these tears coming from?
I finally I was doing that earlier. Is like my nose was running, my eyes were running.
Okay.
We have really high pollen count right now. It's like 10.2.
Okay.
What a pollen. So I'm blaming allergies.
So you're suggesting, Ellie, I do one more round of knit.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
Before I do my increase. So I am back at my right, which is letting me know that I'm at the beginning again.
You are just incredible. You really are.
Yes, I can't believe it. It's happening, guys.
I really think from when I learned to knit to now, knitting has evolved and changed so
oh my gosh.
much.
Wait, for an hour, we've been stuck on Eliana's screen with EI.
Yeah, I don't know how to change that.
Oh, that's amazing.
I don't think I could change it.
Eliana. So we've been stuck on the spelling of her name. You guys, I can't wait to go back and rewatch this video and watch all these comments. And I'm going to just stick it onto this for now.
There we go.
Let me go back. Let me go back to this screen.
I thought
Let me go back to this screen. You guys, did I not recruit the best person for this job? Because I don't know who can just come on here last minute and just come chat with you guys like a professional. Like one professional, like she's done this her entire life. You're like a
Thank you.
natural.
Oh, thank you. I like to talk. My favorite class was public speaking in college. I still got nervous and like sweated out, pitted out my armpits, but
Are you mad? Your favorite class was public speaking.
I
Good golly.
loved, I didn't, I mean, it was still nerve-wracking, but I love talking to people. I always did sales or retail. Probably the hardest job for me. I was a music major, and I love little kids. I do, but teaching piano lessons to little kids was really hard for me. It felt so draining. Um, I don't know why. It's just a lot of one-on-one. It takes a lot of mental energy. You're getting a lot of like thumbs up and happy signs to that with your work. And Spin Chick said you're doing great.
Hold on, wait. So the last time 2, 4, 6, 8. How do I get 9 stitches, ladies? How did I get 9 stitches? How do I have 9 stitches at the beginning of my row?
Can you just knit?
Let me see if
Together?
I have 8 over on this side. 2, 4, 6, 8. I have 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. I have 8, but somehow this beginning I have 9. Wait, something's not right here. Hold on. 2,
Helen,
4, 6, 8. Oh no, I just have 9 in this very first one, and it's tight. So I'm gonna drop something, but I want to make sure I can drop the right one.
I would, uh, I might knit two together, but you do you. Like because I would be afraid of it unraveling, I guess.
And no, I dropped it. It's just one loose, one long loose end, but I think it'll even out.
Jackie P, I'm doing a tubular cast on right now, top down sweater neck ribbing. That would be a really nice neck ribbing. This was actually not a tubular ribbing in the truest form. It was picked up and knit and then basically hemmed, but it's a lot like a tubular cast on or bind off. I love it. It is really stretchy.
Wait, are you saying like there's a similar way to do a sweater like this?
No, I was talking to Jackie because she's doing a top down sweater. Well, top down sweater I guess would be similar because you're working from the top down, but you don't have to do the toe because then you wouldn't get over your head.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna
Ellen.
turn over.
Ellen
Turn
said,
over.
"Wow, I
Oh
think
my yarn.
that I've met who love public speaking class." Yeah, when I was doing it, like I don't remember like I liked it, but I don't remember like loving it. And now that I'm not in the class, I look back, I'm like, wow, I really loved that class. I had a really nice instructor, and I don't know, I like talking to people, so I don't know that I would necessarily want to go up and like give speeches for a living. Maybe, I don't know, somebody'd have to write my material. That would be the nerve-wracking part. I
I
kind
was always
of
the opposite.
but I would spend forever on a speech trying to get it right. So
I when it was come to speech day, I would always call out sick 2, 4, 6, 8, and to the point where at the end of the year I had to make up 2 speeches
but you're talking
at
on
the same
purpose.
day because I kept putting it off because oh my god, and that was. But here I am, like 20 years later, and this is what I'm doing.
I know.
Like,
So I was just gonna say.
so different, so different. Like that's how shy I was. That's how like so
Hmm.
much of an introvert and how shy I was that I barely passed it. And um wait, back. She said something about there's a way where you can uh not like do the front and back or something that you don't get these yarns mixed up or something. I'll figure that out.
You can.
So we're looking at an hour, and I'm going to just, if you guys are patient with me, just learn how to increase, because the thing is, I have to increase a row, knit a row, increase a row, knit a row, all the way up to 32. I'm at 8. I'm at 8 stitches. So if I can learn to increase a row, like a couple of times maybe, then I think I will be good to go, and then follow my journey on Instagram. And then hopefully by next Saturday, you guys will see me wearing socks. Socks. Oh, wait. I don't want to I'm going to turn, and then I'm going to yank. this is where it gets, I can't get lazy in my thinking, we just flip and we start knitting.
Yeah.
And it does not quite work that way. Okay, so now I am back and I'm at the right side, which is, the way I want to be. And I did knit 1 row extra. So
Okay.
now I should be good to go to increase. Now she's saying to increase, this is where I need the professional. So I'm going to, now I lost everything. Okay. She's saying increase. So I'm going to knit 1 and then I need to increase this middle part, right? So now
Yep.
I have this ladder. So what do? I'm just going to
did you lift up and then you're going to want to
knit.
No, because you'll have a hole if you just knit it. You have to twist it. I gotta, hold on. Let me look at my own knitting so I don't guide you wrongly. Hold on. Knitting. That's why I'm glad I brought my knitting. I wasn't going to, and then I was like, no, I should.
She's saying knit the first one. I'm looking at her video too, so she's lifting it up.
And you came through you put your needle through the front, right?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Wait, it's the wrong needle. Okay, it's the other needle. So it's knit through the back.
Knit through the back with your left needle.
Okay. I was lifting the yarn up with the wrong one. That's why. Knit through the back and then hold it. And then wait, just knit through the back and that's it? Well, how did she drop it? Hold on. Wait, why? Well, she went too fast. I gotta make her speed low again. Good golly, Miss Molly. You guys gotta love technology. You guys gotta love technology. And I've never slowed down a speed before in my life. I've just learned it today, right now here at Live TV.
Nancy, we actually started like a few minutes after 9. I think it was like 9:04 or something. We had a little bit of a late start, so that might be why you didn't get the notification, maybe. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the back.
Wait, she's saying go to the back, and then do I like not drop it and then go to the front? Wait, we're close. She's going slow mode, so back. Hang on to it. Wait, she did drop it.
Yeah, you're making a stitch. So
oh, because I made it with that middle part.
Yep, and then you're going to knit it and drop it.
Then that makes sense. I thought I was going to do like a knit front and back.
Oh, okay. Nope.
That's why I was like, something's wrong. So that's what happened. So to do it in the back, and now I'm going at the back, and now I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to lift it up in the back again, and then I have to be patient because I have her in slow-mo until she gets to my end. Okay. So now we're at the back end. I'm going to lift from the ladder again. This is a new way of increasing that I've never learned.
Oh, it's called a lifted bar increase. A lot of times you'll see it as make one right, make one left, but it's a lifted bar increase.
Yeah.
They're really nice because they're fairly invisible. It's probably I would say so far it's probably my favorite way to increase, unless I want it more decorative.
Okay, that's a little tough.
I think she's going to link all of that, Nancy, but I'll make sure to remind her. Nancy wants you to link the video you're watching in the description.
For sure. I will definitely be doing all of that when I'm done. Oh, wow, that's tough. Okay. That's a little different. Hold on. I gotta. So from the beginning, I'm going to increase, whoa, not my tail. I'm going to increase, so knit 1. I'm going to lift up from and then I'm going to knit from the back, right? The first side is knit from the back, and then the second side is knit from the front, the opposite end.
Yeah, but which needle did you use to pick it up with?
The left.
The left.
Yeah.
And you picked it up from the back, like from behind the bar.
What? Yeah, from the bar, from the one underneath.
Okay. Yes, that does sound right.
Okay. Cool. Then, OMG.
Did you do it?
Okay. So I'm going to lift it from, I'm at the back now. I'm in the second sock. I'm going to lift it. Wait, but did she lift? She lifted from this way and then so that it twists. This is where the second one is a little tougher.
Mm.
You know what I mean? To get that twist right. I'm
Yeah.
hoping it's right. Okay, I'm going to flip. I'm going to flip and then I'm going to pull my magic loop. God. Oh, my neck. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and be like, honey, why is my neck so stiff?
You should go in and you should just like take your hands and like release it all and just. You know those cups, you know those cellulite cups? Like my PT has us all use those for just fascial release. They feel great. You should get some. Just saying. That would be like the best thing ever. I know. I keep hearing the puppy, and at first I was like, "Is that puppy or is that my child?" But it's the puppy.
No, I have the puppy. She's got the child.
Well, no, that's what I was saying. I was like, I feel like I would know my son, but he's been going around whining. He's been watching a lot of Clifford, and
Oh,
he'll
really?
go down and he'll go. We'll tell him like, no, or he'll ask for something, and he'll be like, and I'm like, okay.
You know, well, the funny thing is, it's the old guy that whines for no reason. Who you hear every day when you're on live with me is the old guy. That's who's on live with me. But the young one cries for a specific reason. I hope I'm lifting this right. We'll see. We'll see. I think I am. I think I am.
It's hard. It's hard for me to tell because this camera flips everything. So like left is right and right is left, and it's like
right.
So I'm guessing that you're doing it right.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, for the magic of television, let's just say I am.
Oh, Clifford with Charles Grodin and Martin Short. Is that still animated, Nancy? Because I only know the one with
Libs, stop. You
the
gotta
guy that starred in Three's
gotta
Company too. What's his name? You know who I'm talking about, right? He's the one that does the voice of the animated one. Yeah, I'll have to like look that one up. I admit, like we haven't done Clifford lately because he's started acting like there's one bratty character in there and he like talks like her sometimes. Oh, it's a live action movie from the 90s. Okay, that makes more sense. He's kind of started like emulating the different characters, and I know it's very normal for children, but sometimes it annoys me and I'm like, we're taking a break from Clifford.
How old is he?
He'll be 3.5 soon this summer.
Did he ever make up any imaginary friends yet? Because my friend from work, he started like talking about his friend Harvey, and she thought it was his friend from daycare, but then she like then with further and like investigation, like she's like all of a sudden like Harvey's right there at the dinner table, and he's there in the bedroom.
Yeah, he doesn't have imaginary friends in the truest sense where it's just this person made out of thin air. He has this one stuffed animal. It's a monkey, and Nancy said her nephew used to pretend he was a puppy, and her mother had to stop him from eating the dog food.
Oh my gosh!
But he thinks that Morgan is real because he'll ask.
So yours is Morgan?
Yeah. Well, we got these two monkeys, one after the other. We named them Chuck and Morgan after the TV show Chuck. But we kind of got them backwards because he got Morgan first, and Morgan's really tall. But we named him Morgan. Well, then the next stuffed animal he got was also a monkey, and he was like short and orange. And I was like, that looks more like Morgan. But we named him Chuck. So he's got Chuck and Morgan. But he also loves, like, he'll bring me in the morning, he'll miss Daddy. So he'll bring me Daddy in his palm and set Daddy in my lap or put Daddy at the kitchen table while he eats.
Oh.
So, and he'll do that.
So Daddy's like super tiny?
Like that, yeah, because he'll be up like, well, Daddy already went to work, you should know that. And then he'll be like, well, no, Daddy's here, Mommy. Daddy. And he'll put Daddy. He's like, hug Daddy, Mommy. And so I have to like pretend I'm hugging him.
Oh my God. That's too funny.
It's really precious.
It's too
Yeah,
funny.
kids are fun. You gotta like they make you realize how uptight you get as an adult, to be honest. Even if you're the most fun-loving adult, like there's just things I realize where I'm like, wow, I'm really like uptight or very adult.
Mm. Okay. You guys, I successfully increased to 10. Like, seriously, I'm good. I don't know if I'm crying, what's happening here, but the corner of my eye. I've successfully increased to 10, and I'm just doing another knit. And I think I am on my way, guys. I am on my way. So,
And you did it in an hour. You actually did it in an hour.
yeah.
Hitting the hour mark.
Well, let's be honest. I did it in 20 minutes. The first 40 minutes was a lot of stumbling.
You did. I'd say, but you're being honest. You're being honest.
Let's be honest. The
Yeah.
first 20 minutes was like learning a new language, picking up the vowels, and, trying to figure out what somebody was saying something on Instagram that was, I don't know, she was like talking about the gusset and the this and the toe down, tap out. I don't know what all these words, and I'm like, what are you saying? Like,
I know.
all the technicalities of socks. Like, this is the very
Nancy,
reason why I've always pushed socks off.
Nancy's leaving, but she said she'll watch the full video later. Have a great day and good luck.
Oh, thank you so much.
It was nice to see you, Nancy.
All right, so I think, okay, so I don't have, so this is still the last of the increases.
And Ellen is celebrating with you. So
Ellen's so sweet. I think and then I'm only increasing when I see the what do you call it? When I see this thing. What is this thing? The stitch marker. That's how I'll know I'm at the beginning of the row. But I'm increasing with, she told me how the stitch looks, and that's how we could tell. The lady on the, you guys, I almost joined it. Oh,
that's why too.
I almost made a rookie mistake. She told me how it looks like when it increases, the weird bump, so that's how I know when I should increase and when I should just knit. If I see that weird stitch, then I'm just gonna knit, and then if I see the row with the clean knit, that's the row that I'm going to be increasing. And this lady is awesome. Who is she? She is so Mel Q or something. Okay. So here we are.
Good for you.
Here we are. Okay. And I'm going to stop, and I'm going to just take a moment because I've got it. It's going to be easy peasy from here. Let me credit who it's. KnitFreedom is her YouTube channel. She has 41,000 followers, so clearly she's a professional. Is she the pattern that I sent you?
Yes.
Was that KnitFreedom?
Yep.
Oh my, what a coincidence then. That's awesome, because so I found that free pattern that so I'm gonna put all this in the show description. So KnitFreedom is the free pattern, and then it looks like she's got paid classes too, but she's got these YouTube videos too. They're bite-sized YouTube videos, and that's what I just learned this from. So I will leave all the links in there. 25 comments. Holy cow! My back, my shoulders. Like I got tension all up in there, all for this little guy.
Yep. Never.
I can't believe it. I have learned the magic loop method. I have learned to cast on like invisible.
The Judy's
it's invisible.
Yeah. I've actually never done it, but I've heard, everybody raves about it. It's just a really cool way to do it when you're starting like very small.
Yeah. That's insane. Like it looks like one knitted direction. Like once I comprehend everything that's happened, like my mind's like blown. And then just before, so Mel Q or something suggested that video to me, and you guys need to go watch my 10-minute video announcing that I was doing that this morning. And in there, you're going to see all the amazing makers that are like ridiculously supportive, because clearly I'm some stranger to them on the internet, that they've come on and said, you need to do this, you need to do that, you could do this, and we're so happy for you and we're so proud of you, and da da da. And I'm just like overwhelmed when I step back and really absorb what just happened in the last 24 hours. Like, this is going to go into my gratitude for the entire journal, like for the entire week. Five gratitudes a day, and every single one of you is going to make it in my gratitude journal some point this week, as once I comprehend everything that's happened. So she suggested that, and then it turns out that that was the pattern that I shared with you. So we are with the right instructor. And thank you so much. I want to say, in my head I've always said Keturah, so it's Keturah.
Couture.
So it's Keturah.
Kind of
Couture.
like, do you know French with couture fashion? It's not French.
Couture. Oh, yes.
Yeah. And then
You know, I graduated with a French award.
Really?
I'd like to boast that I'm a trilingual, but I didn't have any French friends. So somewhere along the line, that me graduating with a French award goes to Je suis de Vone, Kevitz. Bonjour, bonne nuit. You know, the very, very basics. My uncle lives in France.
Oh.
When we escaped our communist country, my daddy came to my oldest uncle came to America. And then my uncle, my daddy's younger brother. So it's my oldest uncle, and then my daddy, and then my daddy's younger brother, right?
Okay.
He joined the army and left so he could leave. That was his way of escaping the communist country. So he joined the army or something. He joined something and moved to France. So he must have joined French's army or something and moved to France. So he settled in France. My daddy's older brother settled in America in Scranton. And then when we finally escaped, we were a week away from going to Australia. We were going to Australia. That was our way out of our refugee camp for 4 years, you know. That was our way out. 1 week away to go to Australia. And somehow my daddy, one of the nuns, I don't know what happened, the logistics of it, our plane ticket, we got a plane ticket to America by one of the, you know, who are the angels that help, you know, free people. I'm drawing a blank on the words. So she, probably through my uncle's petitions and all the, you know what I mean, saying help them, you know, like probably with their work. I can't think of the word. Sponsorship.
Oh, sponsorship. Okay, yeah.
That's the word. I was like, what is this word? So probably with my uncles, you know, and his friends and my cousins here petitioning for my dad's to come, so that our plane ticket to America came 1 week before we were heading off to Australia.
That's just crazy.
So,
you have an Australian accent.
Oh,
sorry, I just threw that in there.
Can I tell you how often I boast, like, you know how amazing I would be with my green contacts as an Asian with an Australian accent? Like, how hot would I be?
Are you feeling a little?
Like, I would be like, I keep telling, I was like, honey, that's what you missed out on. You missed out on an Australian accent Asian. But if I had the Australian accent, I wouldn't have met him here in the US.
Well, I always think, like, when I met I want to hear more of your story. I don't know if we have time for it today. Like, if you have time, I do. But I want to hear more. Like, I haven't met anyone that has escaped China. I've heard lots of stories, but I've not personally met anyone. I did meet and was friends with a woman when we lived in the Keys. We lived in the Florida Keys for a year, right before we had our son. And she and her husband had escaped from Venezuela, which is really bad too. It's not.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's on the same magnitude as China, just because they haven't been. They don't claim communist, but they're essentially communist.
Yeah.
You know, so they haven't been a communist or socialist country for as long. But, I felt it was incredible to meet her because, first of all, she's the neatest lady. She just loved God. She thought family and children were the best thing in the world. And she had given up. She had been a certified public accountant, so CPA. She
Mhm.
gave up. They gave up everything to come over here. Everything. They even left some of their children and grandchildren behind.
Yeah, that's
And because
hard.
it is
It's
hard,
so
but they wanted freedom. They wanted freedom so badly. And when I meet people, especially this day and age, like the younger generation, but even some of the older people that are really, they don't see it as socialism and some of the things that they hold dear or that they want.
oh my gosh.
And it's like, but I've met these people. I saw the boats of Cubans. I actually literally saw the boats they came over in because they get,
Mhm.
we have dry foot in Florida. So they
Yeah.
come in the middle of the night and they meet, they hop off their boat
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
they go meet somebody in the Walgreens parking lot and get their, money, IDs, whatever they need.
Yeah.
And suddenly they're here. And I saw these boats, and this boat hadn't been picked up yet by whoever. I don't know if it's Coast Guard or who removes the boats, but it was just on the beach, on the shore. And I looked in there, I'm like, and this was one of the nicer boats. I'm like, how did they get over here? It's not that far away. It's only like 80 miles or less by sea, but it's this little tiny boat. I don't know how many people are in there, but it had this it was covered in boat oil and had this little burner in there so they could try it was just incredible to me. And what's funny about living in Florida, in southern Florida, was there's a lot of Cubans that come out of communism that are still in that mindset, and it does
Mhm.
affect culture there, but then there's a lot of them that know what they have in
Oh,
freedom. America.
I
Amazing.
know. I mentioned it very briefly in my Ravelry video. I know what my daddy escaped from. I never learned my story um
Were you
till
really
about
little?
until about
Were you really small when you came over?
I was 6 years old when I landed in America.
Okay.
I'm a legal American citizen, guys. So before the internet comes after me, I'm a legal American citizen. I uh but when I came, but not until I was married, because until I was married, I thought if I was married, I would be like, what is the legal, wasn't that back in the day? Was that back in the day? I was like, oh, if you marry an American, you get to stay in America. Like,
They told
is
you
that
that.
what
They told you that. I have a friend that did
one?
that.
Yeah. So I thought I was like, oh, I'll legally be, but it turns out marrying John didn't make me illegal. Anything. I was already a permanent resident, so I was already, legal here with the green card, like a permanent resident. But it didn't make me an automatic American citizen. I had to apply. But once I married John and we realized that this wasn't making me more legal and more rights to vote, that's when I was like, okay, we need to take the steps to make you legal, because a president can change at any moment and do something weird to you and decide, you know what I mean? And so now we need to make you a citizen so that you can never get deported.
My friend
And
from
he
Denmark.
was so right. He's so right. You know what I mean? Because I think something recent here with what Trump did.
Yeah.
He's sending a lot of Laos back from refugees, you know what I mean, that were criminals, that are criminals, but and they're permanent resident because they're
Mhm.
refugees, but if they never took the time to become legal citizens. And therefore now, with any change of any president, with any flip of any, like there's a lot of backstory between all. We can talk about all that another time, but
I
I'll
feel
do
like we should
story.
sometime.
We're at 10:21. I can't even believe you guys are still joining me.
Ariana,
My neck. Okay, so real quickly,
she's right now.
I was about 3 years old. My dad was making. We escaped Laos, which is a communist country at the time. I believe they're still communists. They might be like socialized
Oh,
communism,
sorry,
like
wow.
they're not. Yeah, but in 1984, when we landed in America, so we would say 1980 was hardcore communism. I don't know
Yeah.
what communist right now looks like, but hardcore communism, the kind that we fear for dear life, was happening then.
I think
The Vietnam War, fighting, all that stuff, that kind of communism. That was real right there. And so my dad was building a boat with my uncle, my mama's sister's husband. They were like best friends. That's how they met. So my mom's sister they married best friends to the guys. So they built boats, and they built it with a tree in the dark because you can't build anything, without the government knowing and doing all kinds of stuff to you, God knows what. So they secretly built a boat in the woods, and then over time in the dark when they weren't being seen, and then finally they had a magical boat one day so that they can go fishing in. And so we got in our boat. My aunt was a nurse, and so I was like 2 or 3. I was 4 years in the refugee camp. I came at 6. I would say I was 2. My sister had to be 1. I was 2. She's a year younger than me, like 11 months. I'm May, or maybe she's like 13. I'm May and she's August. So we were drugged. My cousins, same age, they were 1 year older, so I would say they were 4 and 3, while I was 3 and 2. Okay, so something like that kind of a math. All young, can't control us. So my aunt was a nurse. She had to drug us to keep us quiet and sleeping in the boat. So, and my aunt and my mama can lay under, and we were all under the covers. So the only 2 people fishing that early morning was my dad and my uncle fishing while the kids were drugged asleep so we wouldn't cry, and crossing the Mekong River to get to Thailand. Daddy says that it's the longest 30 minutes of his life because you get caught,
you're done.
We're all dead.
Yep.
We're all dead. So 30 minutes, you get caught, we're dead. You know what I mean? 4 babies.
I don't know, like I know what you're
4
saying.
adults.
I've read some incredible stories in the.
We get there and we landed in Thailand, and I don't know, I haven't quite. I've lost my dad since then, and I haven't quite gotten the full gist. I can chat with my mother when I'm ready to write the manuscript of all this, because I do plan on writing this story, but I think I'm going to keep it nonfiction. I think I'm going to keep it fiction. You know what I mean? But the parts that you think I made up are probably the parts that are real, and the parts that I did make up are probably the parts you think is real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's probably the way it's going to end up working, because the parts that are so horrific and so, I think when we landed in Thailand, we were put into one room and stripped down. So one family stripped down naked. Imagine my dad stripped naked and my mom stripped naked in one room with their 2 babies to make sure we don't have anything, to make sure,
Right.
and then decontaminate us.
Yeah.
One room at a time as we, somehow landed. And then once we get through whatever that phase was, get through to our refugee camp that we were in. And it turns out, do you know Vanessa Fong? Designs by Vanessa. She grew from 1,000 subscribers on Instagram when I knew her to 41,000 in 1 year.
Oh my God.
Because her pictures were like amazing. Like, she designs like hats. She knocks out a pattern a week on a new hat. Like, she's amazing. Turns out we were in the same refugee camp within that 4-year span. Crazy. And so we figured out somewhere along the Dare to Be Original Facebook group. We're like, oh my God, I know that refugee camp. So we were there for 4 years, and then we went to the Philippines for a couple of months, and then somehow we were going to be in Australia, and then instead ended up in America. And now I have an American accent and not an Australian accent, as I drool over the Australian accents and the koala bears. I always tell John, I'm like, my dream is to sit in a kangaroo's pouch and ride along. He goes, I don't think anybody in the human race has ever been carried by a kangaroo. That was my dream. I was like, I want to ride in a kangaroo.
Maybe you can have that dream in heaven. Like, I don't know if that's going to happen in real life.
I don't know, one will fit now, but
some of there's a Australian Christian woman I'm friends with now. Like, we just kind of met via the internet. She's helping with a couple of things, and we were chatting the other night, and I said something about retaining, like, how in America there's this fight over traditional values versus socialist values. And she just said, she's like, Victoria, you have no idea how much the world loves America. and how much we love American values. There's such a purity to it that nobody else has. And it just made me almost cry because you hear so much, or you hear in the mainstream media how much there's this disdain for America and this hate for America. But in following people and hearing the real stories, there's a woman named Erica, and I can't pronounce her last name off the top of my head, but she's from Iran. She lives here in the US. You may have heard of her. But she works with some different organizations in Iran, and she's posted actual real videos of Iranian college students where somebody there has painted the American flag on the ground for people to walk on as a sign of disrespect, and they won't do it. And anyone that does it, they jeer at and say disrespectful, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a wake-up call, I think, hearing stories like yours, seeing things like that about how incredible this experiment, this is what this country started out as, just some experiment, how incredible this experiment is, and do we really want it to end? I don't think so. I don't want it to. But are we also willing to step up to the plate and just be very honest and forthright, not nasty? I'm tired of nastiness, but we can be honest and we can be truthful and step up to the plate and say, this is worth saving, you guys. I think people do. I think that's why we see such the clash we do now, is because it's so much. There's still enough people in this country, especially like older generations, that haven't died out yet, that want to keep what they know to be true. What is
for sure. Oh, and that's why in my Ravelry video, and I said, like, you know, they were talking about, oh, socialism isn't bad. I'm like, it's deathly terrifying.
Yeah.
It's deathly terrifying. My dad, oh, he's, you know, I can't tell you how much he loved America. He loved it so much that all of my cousins have been back. They visited. They've been back to Laos. They go all the time. They vacation there. My dad has never once traveled back.
Yeah.
Our family, our immediate family, my sister, my brother, who was born in America, and my mom and my dad never went back.
Yeah.
Never went back. No desire. I have no desire. My daddy has no desire. My daddy was like, everybody, all of his brothers and sisters were like, why aren't you ever going back? He's like, why would I go back when I spent my entire life escaping something and coming to this great American country? And he's like, for all the weird laws and innuendos and all the little things that, you know, that can be annoying, he's always told me, don't ever forget you are in the greatest country of your life. Don't ever forget that.
I know.
And here we are, we're in this weird phase where you're like, oh, it's socialism isn't so bad. I'm like, yeah, it is.
You can be. The thing is,
it can be. It's always these stepping stones. People don't take your freedom away in a clash of taking your freedom away.
Yeah.
Then people will know, oh, my freedom's taken away. No, they do it peacefully, gently, guidingly, lovingly, pulling, you know what I mean?
They do it under the guise of the greater good.
Yes, always the greater good. Always the greater good.
Yeah.
Always the greater good. We can even get into what is going on currently at this very moment. You know, I don't want to get too, because this is my first time stepping. I don't want to step too hard, too fast, so far into, but we can even get to what is going on currently right now at this moment about your freedoms.
Yeah.
As we are self-quarantining ourselves.
I have a lot of thoughts on all of that.
I know. So let's just you know, as we, you know, self-quarantine ourselves, let's just, we'll drop it up and leave it to the imagination. People, I don't want to start another controversial video. I'm not ready. I'm not ready just yet. I'm not ready just yet. One problem at a time. I tackled Katura's name. You guys, I can't believe, like, you guys, I'm going to go back and love hard on all your comments as I comprehend what's going on here. And then I'm going to finish this. So it might just be one tube socks that isn't really a sock. It might just be one tube that I wear and flaunt. Unless I get to a point where I'm going to get to a point where I get up to my heel, right? And then I'll decide what we want to do.
When you get to the point where your actual heel point is, like, sorry.
Yes, that point, yeah.
When you get to that point, you can decide. Well, actually, you need to decide. You need to decide.
Oh, I need to decide higher. I need to decide higher, right? Yeah, up there. Right?
The instep, if you want to do the heel flap,
okay,
as written in the pattern, or Helen Helms. Oh, why not be controversial? If you want to do the heel flap, or if you want to do the afterthought heel. Because if you're going to do the heel flap, you're going to start right after that instep.
Okay.
So you're going to start, like right in this section. Okay. You would start your heel flap, or turning your heel, actually. Or if not, if you want to do the afterthought heel, you're going to put in your yarn about right here, I believe.
What does that mean, put in my yarn?
Your waist yarn. Because what you do with an afterthought heel is you put in waist yarn, and then you just knit in your tube. And when you're done knitting your tube, you go back to the waist yarn, you undo it, and you pick up the live stitches and you knit the heel.
All right, wait. My brain, I'd rather go back to Ellen's, me being controversial. I'd rather be controversial than hear whatever that was. You just...
I've lost you, I know.
My brain, I'd rather be controversial than whatever and comprehend whatever Victoria just said about all that stuff. My brain just shut down. I'm like, did you see what I just mastered? Okay.
You did. I'm proud of you. I'm so proud.
My brain can't handle whatever. So Hubs and I have been praying very. We want to do a podcast together. We've been praying very hard for a podcast together, and our very first one will most likely be, and this is a tip, he might kill me, or maybe he won't. Maybe he'll want me, because then this way we'll finally get moving on it. But I will say this as part of controversy, and we're going to end it right here because we're at 10:30. In 2017 and 2018, 61,000 or 72,000, those were my two numbers I have in my head, died of the flu, the normal flu.
Yep.
61 to 71, right? Died of the normal flu. This is the CDC. 2017 to 2018, died of the flu. Not had the flu, because had the flu is millions.
Right. I was going to say, that's not counting flu-like illnesses that weren't. This is actual.
This is actual flu, normal flu, actual flu. That number, right? That ridiculous number. Here we are in Pennsylvania, the beautiful state that I'm in. One death from this new flu, new interesting, that I can't say on YouTube because they don't like that word on YouTube. So one death this year or last week, and the governor shut down the entire state.
Yeah, I live in Colorado.
One death.
Yeah, we've had more.
How many people die a day in your state? How many people die a day in your state?
From the, I know.
Anything.
I know.
Anything.
Well, here's the
anything.
I need to send you the link for the article. There's an article on the Federalist about talking about the death count versus the economy. And this is where facts don't care about your feelings, and this gets really hard because I am pro-life and I do believe saving life is important. It's just to get controversial. Saving, at what point do you make the hard decision of this virus, this flu, would kill maybe a few people that could possibly die just from the flu or other complications, versus shutting down an entire economy, and now we have thousands and thousands and thousands of people that are jobless, that we're having to send, the government is having to support. At what point, I had somebody say to me, well, an economy is easier to recover than a person that dies. And I'm like, I totally get what you're saying. But this is actually where I would depart from that and say, okay, but there's something happening here that's deeper, and it's behind the scenes. There's a thing where our freedom is being inhibited. Now, I'm all for, we've become so individualist in this country that, yes, I'm all for saving my neighbor and staying home. I'm staying home right now. But there is something that is not sitting right with me.
No, there's not. And read further in the new laws that are being etched up, and all these things that we're we're giving away, because somewhere along those lines of, the free money,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere along those lines, there's something in the fine lines of the future where you give the government up control of one thing. The next thing you know, they're asking if you there's somewhere in there in these laws about how they're wording it. I'm not sure. And but like eminent domain, where they come and take your land and
Yep.
do whatever. Well, now there's something in there, or very, very leading up to the potential of this, where they can deem your house the sanctuary, and if they want to, in these crises, put anybody in your house and stay with you, and you have to accept them.
Wow.
You have to.
Well,
Like, these are the things that we slowly tap in. So we're right now self-imprisoning ourselves,
Yep.
shutting down our businesses and our work.
Because the government told us to.
Yeah,
And we're listening. And
all in the guise of, I don't know what. Like,
well, when
one
you
death, one death in the state.
when you look at the statistics from the SARS infection, in the previous administration, I'm not going to say the name because I'm not here to cause controversy over president versus president. That's not my point. My point is to compare different policies and different plans of action from one to the other. So when you look at the previous SARS outbreak, I forget the numbers off the top of my head, but we had deaths in the thousands that were attributed to it. Either they were actually like, yes, this person had it. I'm not sure how. I didn't get to dig into it deeper, but thousands of deaths went on for 6 months before anything was said or done. Never a blip on the media, ever. And people are trying to tell me, well, this current thing is so contagious. Well, this was just as contagious. By the way, nobody's talking about how many people are recovering from this new flu. Massive amounts of people. Also, nobody's talking about the pollution rates. China and Italy have some of the highest pollution rates in the world, especially China. They also have much higher smoking rates, and Italy especially has a much, much higher elderly population or aging population than we do. So there's all these different things that are not being addressed or talked about, on top of the freedoms that are being encroached upon with all of this. Because here's the thing, when we had the Depression and everybody got Social Security, that Social Security has never gone away. The things that you enlist in crisis are the things that remain. Those short-term fixes. So my question, I mean, we do need to, I am concerned for the economy, but I'm like, okay, sending everyone a check while they sit at home, is this going to be a good thing? I don't know. I'm just praying really hard for our president, and I'm praying for our country really hard. Because there's just so much more to this than being scared, staying home, and waiting for the world to end while you're sitting on 3 tons of toilet paper.
And about 2 weeks ago, I put out an Instagram live. It's on here on YouTube, where I think we have a fear epidemic and not necessarily a health epidemic. Because I listed out the facts that every single election year there is a virus. Every single election year there is a virus. I don't have the numbers in front of me because I prepped my desk for this, but SARS, the swine flu, F1N1, remember?
F1N1, yeah.
Ebola, what are the other ones? All in the even years, not the odd years. Only the even years on election year. Weird how the viruses never attack on the odd years. Only the even years.
It's hard with all of this not to have a little bit of a conspiracy theorist in you, right?
I'm just a common sense person.
Yeah.
I'm just a common sense person. Now, I wash my hands. I'm doing all the things. I'm quarantining. I'm just a common sense person, but I'm also a thinker.
Yes.
And that's what we need to be, is a thinker. Because
and it's more than thinking, though. It's a questioner.
It's a questioner.
I know people that are supposedly thinking, and they're trying to think well, but they're not asking the bigger questions. What are the bigger questions here? It's it is thinking well, but part of thinking well is asking questions. Nobody wants to ask the questions. When I asked or posed some statistics and questions just in my personal Facebook page, I got reamed by one person in particular because I was dismissing death and people suffering by posing the greater question of, but look at how I just posed the question of, look at how many veteran suicides happen a day.
And do you know, with all this social distancing and self-quarantining and all that stuff, Planned Parenthood still surviving.
Yep.
They're thriving.
I
They're
heard that.
still up and opening. They're still up and running,
It's not
killing and killing and killing, killing and killing and killing. All while we're all staying inside, trying to, shutting down our businesses, trying to stay healthy and trying not to spread.
Trying to
Planned
stay
Parenthood is still open.
Yep.
Killing and killing and killing.
Yep.
Weird, huh? Weird, huh?
It's amazing. Yeah. There's so much to
What kind of math is that?
I'm really looking forward to the video you do with your husband, whenever it may be, because there's just so much to it. And the funny thing is, like I said, when you broach these things with a lot of people, even a family member, there's been some family members I brought this up and they get so upset. The question was, will you value the economy more than elderly people's lives then? And it's like, no. There is so much more here than just making this a binary issue of this versus this.
Let me tell you what I value. I value freedom.
Yeah.
I value liberty.
Yeah.
I value my God-given rights to be a human being in all my glory, the way the Lord intended me to be. That's what I value. You know what I mean? And I value every right to live. I value that, and I value every human life having that right to live.
Yes.
That's what I value. And it encompasses a lot. It does. It encompasses a lot, but that's where the values are. How did we get here? Ketra, see, I was like, yay. Ketra, she's like the bomb. She's gonna go through, and an hour 44 minutes later, John's already been up and down these steps, letting the dogs out.
I feel like you and I could just go on like a 2 or 3 hour discussion time where we just like talk like
we probably could. Luckily, this is the bonus round, and then if most people can't, let me see if we if I've never whenever we do these hard things, like to I never like want to ever speak for somebody. Only my opinions and our, you know what I mean? Like that's why we have that's why we have a great relationship. We've never spoken to each other. We've always just DM'd each other on Instagram. Our entire relationship is through Instagram, and that's how we learn and love hard on each other, through there. So it's really nice to see a face and to talk with you, and you know what I mean? And
yeah, I do.
And do like this has been a dream. And that's when I turn on I was like, who can I call upon to join me tomorrow to help me through this scary time of taking on a new skill set and finally tackling this. And then I turned on and I remember I said to Lord, whoever's on Instagram that's going to be on at 11:30 at night, that's who I'm reaching out to. And lo and behold, your green light was on, and I was like, oh my God, she knows how to knit. and I didn't even comprehend. We were talking about it earlier, but I was busy trying to cast on. You guys, she made that sweater. That beautiful human being made that sweater by her hands, her mind, and her heart, and the tenacity and the creativity, all like wrapped up in whatever you're wearing. If I ever get to, so I've always said that if I knit socks, I'm taking over the world. If I do what you just did on what you're wearing, I'd be taking over the universe. Like that's a whole other level of crazy. That's a whole other level of crazy.
I just have to say, like, I talk about like your 20 minutes of fame on Instagram. Like this sweater I like cried blood and tears of blood over because of getting the colors. These aren't the colors that come in the pattern. I wanted to do my own thing with. I still wanted to use the pattern because I'm not going to rewrite a Fair Isle pattern, not yet. Maybe down the road, maybe not. But I think I tried out just for this part, this like diamond part. I tried out 13 different color combinations. I did it in like a week or more. I was like just trying like Swiss darning colors over and over and over and over because it's like I have to get this right. It has to sing to me. Like colors just sing to me, you know? I've learned it, but I wasn't trusting my gut. So I went through 13 different tries and I tried this purple and I went, it sings. I'm just going to go with it. So I actually really appreciate saying that because this was beyond a labor of love. I mean, it was, but I feel like too, like anyone can do this. Anyone can do this. You can do this. If you just did socks like that, Vone, like you can do this.
Yeah.
I would still start smaller, maybe with a hat.
No, I'm not that crazy. I mean, there are crazier Asians than me. I'm not starting with that.
I will say, like this
I
is
will start with. I won't even. If I get into Farrah, I wouldn't even start with a hat. I would start with a baby scarf, maybe a belt, maybe something.
you could do a cowl because you could do that in the round and it wouldn't be any
Ooh,
shaping.
ooh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let me go through this and let's see where I land at the end of 2020. If I want to, like
I want 2021 to be the year of Fair Isle for you, even if it's
oh God, oh golly. Well, it
Oh,
depends on how long we're self quarantining, right? Maybe I'll get there by the time we. It
oh my gosh,
depends.
I
It
hope it's
depends
not
on where we land in the self quarantining time.
Mm. This is
Oh
so
goodness, you
delightful.
guys! Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much, Katura, for joining me. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Thank you for all the people that watch live, and thank you for all the people that will be watching the replay. Um, be kind. Be kind. Whatever you see here on the replay, guys, be kind. We are two humans. We are two humans loving on humans. That's it.
That's the
Remember
goal.
the internet. If you forget that all your engagements, like especially this time, like even during with the knitting and this whole racism and this, like all this hate everywhere which way, just remember when you're on technology and you're talking to somebody, they are human beings. They are human beings. We can all be different and we can all have questions. We can all like engage in a kind, loving, cordial manner. Like never ever forget that. If I have any message on this YouTube life, it is, or this social media life, it is just to you guys to never forget that you are talking to another human being. You know what I mean? Like face to face. Like here we are. We've always engaged cordially with each other on our DMs. When we disagree and when we agree, when we questioned, when we weren't confident, when we weren't sure, we've always engaged with kind and courteous because we're talking to another human being.
Yeah.
And here we are a year later, and we're literally in front of another human being. Like this is the human being that I've been engaging with for a year. You know, so this never forget that lesson, whoever you're talking to. So in the comments,
Yeah.
give it a thumbs up, share, um, follow me on Instagram. I wish you could help me. Let's see where we're at. I wish you could help me be able to knit those types of sweaters. I so wanted to know how to knit Fair Isle style. You guys, what is your Instagram? Her link will be in the show description as well. But
Uh, my
Eliana,
my Instagram is darling dear knits. So darling dear knits, all one word, and yeah, you can come find me there. My sweater lady, I love that. Miss Sweater Lady, what is your name? It's Katura. which is also, it's an old Bible name. It's a very old Bible name, Eliana, because you said yours was Hebrew. I saw that in the comments, and I wasn't able to interject anything because we were in the yeah. So, but
Eliana is Hebrew and Keturah.
yeah, I am not Jewish or Hebrew that I know of.
Your name, yeah,
My name is.
your name is in the Bible.
Yeah, it's funny because my name, if you, a lot of Christians don't know it because it's just so rare. It was Abraham's second wife. It's mentioned twice in the Bible. So
I know, I didn't even know he had a second wife. I only know Sarah.
Yep, Sarah died, and he took his concubine Keturah and made her his wife. A lot, not all, but I have a Jewish friend, and she told me that at least in her sect of Judaism, that they believe that Keturah was Hagar. So there's a lot not known about her, I think. And of course, like I said, I'm not Jewish.
Now that name I've heard.
Yeah, Hagar. Yeah.
Yes.
So there were some. When I was studying up my name, just because I was curious, there's one camp of rabbis that believe it was Hagar, and there's another camp that said no, she's a completely different person. So yeah, it's just a really interesting. Middle Eastern people know my name because apparently it's still used there, and a lot of Black women have the name Keturah. When I did, yeah, I'm not sure why. It's just really interesting to me because this name Keturah has not been popular, at least among white women, since like the early 80s.
I've never heard. You were the first time I've heard that name, and when I was like, "Oh my God, that is such a beautiful name!" And you guys, I'm with my knitting patterns. I've just wanted to use all like female Bible names, so I've been trying to collect female Bible names. So I have a running list of. So whenever I have a pattern, I will research the name, and I will, you know what I mean. And if something matches and pairs up well, I will use it. So Eliana, so is your name one of them? Can I add your name onto that? Oh, you do not have Instagram. Oh, that's why you well, it's 2020 and she can make that and I'm making this, so you've got to get on Instagram just to follow us too.
Yes.
Just to join our journey.
Yes, I agree. It's in Genesis 25, and then her name shows up again in First Chronicles just when they're going through the genealogies. Keturah and Abraham started. Oh shoot, I just lost the name. They started. One of her children became the tribes that Zipporah came out of, and I can't remember the name now. So dumb, right off the top of my head, but that's where the name is. So.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know if do I have a time limit on YouTube? I might not.
We're still going. It says live, and it's been almost 2 hours.
I fear that this will not. I hope this goes live. This will be my longest video. Leave it to the talker. I should have known.
I'm a talker too, so hey, talker.
You put 2 talkers on live, and we're never getting on. My laptop is going to end soon. I have to wrap. We have to wrap.
We're wrapping.
You guys, thank you so much. If you're not, Eliana, if you haven't joined Instagram by next week, I will have something to show on my next live on Saturday. So I don't think I'll have it live for Monday Morning Motivation at 6 a.m. with Sarah Price. But I might have progress in that one. I'll show progress there. But by Saturday, I'm hoping to at least get to where Keturah can tell me how to finish this ending off. And then I might be ready to listen to all that mumbo jumbo she was saying about the heels and whatnot. all that stuff. You guys, thank you so much for joining. God bless you. Have an amazing week. Create, love, rest.
Yeah.
Love, rest. Take care of yourselves. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones. God bless, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Victoria, you can hang out for a second.